In January 2020, researchers finally made a comprehensive list of signs of separation anxiety, or actually more specifically, separation-related problems. And what they were actually able to do is establish that there are 4 different types of separation-related problems. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the signs that your dog may or may not be suffering a separation anxiety, and if he is, which diagnosis might fit best. If you're interested, keep watching. What's up guys, it's Jenna with Dog Liaison, where I coach you on how to enhance your dog's mental health needs. On this channel, we break down scientific research in order to inform and educate us on how to train dogs. So if you're interested in a nerdier approach to canine cognition, do me a favor, consider subscribing. About a year ago, I posted this video on how to train severe separation anxiety. It's a video that I am super proud of, and my followers seem to really enjoy it as well. But to be honest, that particular video is more for severe separation anxiety. If your dog is experiencing boredom, for example, or a less severe separation related distress, that video may not be necessary for your dog. The truth is that separation anxiety ranges on a spectrum, and that's why separation anxiety as a phrase is not very descriptive enough. It's not really an accurate term, and that's why the researchers use the phrase separation-related problems. And so in this video, I am going to be saying there's 4 different types of separation anxiety, but I just think it's important to clarify that this is a phrase that isn't very specific enough, which is why the researchers gave a clear title to each one of these diagnoses. And these titles are 1. Exit frustration, 2. Redirected reactive, 3. Reactive inhibited, and 4. Boredom. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I am never going to retain those fancy terminology. And I hear you. Scientists are gonna scientists. You and I need to have the explanation. So to make this simple for you, what I am doing is I'm going to make little characters, starting with number 1. Meet Ginger. Ginger represents 17.4% of the population. Ginger is very likely to specifically claw at and chew at the exits. So when mom leaves the front door, for example, Ginger is going to try to scratch and chew at that door specifically. Now, the researchers propose that the reason Ginger and dogs like Ginger are chewing at the exits is because they are trying to get to where mom was last, and since mom went out the door, they're not able to go out that door, and so they're just chewing at that exit specifically. Additionally, Ginger is very likely to chew at, so she is specifically using her mouth to destroy objects and clothes around the house. Finally, of course, Ginger is also very likely to use her vocalization, so she is likely to howl and bark when she's left alone. Now, something I do want to mention is that the researchers were very detailed, and under each of the 4 separation-related problems, under each of the diagnoses, they actually made subcategories. So you might have 1A, 1B, 1C categories. Now, I'm not going to necessarily tackle each one of those, or else this video would be 80 minutes long, but I am going to put that on the screen after each one of the groups. I'm going to put on the screen the subcategories for you to pause and look at the individual characteristics of each subgroup. Group 2 is represented by Fluffy. Fluffy represents 29% of the population. Fluffy is very similar to Group 1's Ginger. That is, Fluffy is probably going to chew at the door, probably. Fluffy also is very likely to chew at medium-sized objects, and Fluffy is also probably going to whine and bark. But there's a clear difference between Fluffy and Ginger. Fluffy, in addition to having his separation-related problem, he's also very reactive to other people and dogs. So for example, if he's stuck in his car and a person approaches the car and it's a stranger, he's probably going to bark. But not only is he barking at that stranger, he's probably barking with a wagging tail, but mostly with the attempt to approach the stranger. Next, group 3 is represented by Lola. Lola represents 35.6% of the population. Lola is very similar to Fluffy from group 2. She is also probably going to be reactive to strangers. However, unlike Fluffy, Lola is actually more timid. She's much less likely to want to approach the stranger. She's probably feels a lot of sanctuary, a lot of comfort back at her home. And on top of all that, she's generally just a more anxious or neurotic dog in general. Lola is very likely to be whiny, and she's probably going to fit in one of these subcategories as well. Check it out. We have Jake. Jake represents group 4, which is about 18% of the population. Jake might bark and chew when he is left alone, but definitely not to the same degree as the other 3 groups. And he's very not likely to be chewing at the door or the exits specifically. So he's also just not as much of an anxious or neurotic dog in general. Jake is also more generally adaptable to new situations. So for example, when his mom changes her daily routine and, decides to change something up, this won't stress Jake out as much as it would for the other 3 groups. When their moms change their routine, it's very stressful and unpredictable and taxing on their day. That's not necessarily the case for Jake. Additionally, Jake's barking or chewing is relatively easily fixed with a little bit more stimulation. So with a little bit more engagement, more toys, more walks, you will see that his barking or his chewing subsides as a result of having that extra stimulation. So there are the 4 types of separation anxiety, or more specifically, separation related problems. Now you might be thinking to yourself, okay, cool, I know which one my dog falls under, but how do I fix the problem? Well, you'll be very happy to know that I've personally contacted the researchers of this paper, and they have informed me personally that they are currently working on a follow-up paper, which is going to explain the best practices, best techniques to fix each one of these different diagnoses. So if you're interested in that video, make sure to hit like, and I promise you, as soon as that paper is published, your girl is going to be posting a video about it because I'm super excited. And I can tell you, if you're watching this video in the future and that second video has already been made, I'm going to link it right there and you can jump right into that video. In the meantime, however, if your dog falls under the first 3 groups, group 1, 2, or 3, then this video that I've created is probably going to help you significantly, and I recommend you jump right into that. An important thing that I do want to mention, and it was important to the researchers in the paper as well, which is that these diagnoses are really meant to be generalizations. It's going to be very difficult to look at a dog and go definitively, without a doubt, no gray area whatsoever, this dog is a group B subgroup 2. Like, that level of specificity is just going to be very difficult. Why? Because dogs are individuals, and this is meant to be a broad spectrum that can kind of just generalize a character of a dog. Even still, I think this paper is the most important paper that has come out on separation anxiety ever, in my opinion. And I would say that I am especially excited for their next follow-up paper, which is, I think, absolutely going to just be so important and integral into fixing separation anxiety. So if you're thinking to yourself, I think I kind of sort of know what subgroup or what group my dog falls under, tell us in the comments, and do me a favor, hit that like button to let the YouTube algorithm know that you found this informative. And if you enjoy more nerdy content on dog behavior and dog anxiety issues, then do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you get notified when I drop a new video, and I'll see you guys soon.